there's so many ways to invest in yourself, obviously, but we wanted to start with a quick little definition. What does it mean? And I think that we all know, but taking a moment to think about what does it really mean to invest in yourself? So the way that we would define it is anytime that you're putting something in right now that's going to have a greater payoff in the future. And there's basically two things that we can invest, right? Maybe three: time, money, and energy or attention, right? And so as we go through our list of ideas of how to invest in yourself, I think it will become clear all the ways in which investing in yourself is super beneficial. But just to think about the fact that it's kind of like delayed gratification, right? Making those choices today that are going to really serve you in the future. And we're going to start off in the category of your financial life because we're talking about investing. So if you invest money now so that you have more money later, right? And so some ways to do that could be starting a retirement fund or adding to your retirement fund. If your employer matches anything for your retirement fund, you've got to maximize up to their match at least, because that is free money. And luckily, my last employer had a really great matching program. And so we took advantage of that as much as possible to build up our retirement fund with basically free money. And I could not believe how many of my colleagues wouldn't find a way to get that free money from our employer. It was like, felt disappointed for them. But there's a lot of different ways to do a retirement fund. So make sure that you're talking to a financial planner or doing your research to decide which is best for you. A 401k, for example, would be through your employer. And basically you have two choices, whether you're going to invest money before taxes or after taxes. So if you invest money before taxes, the nice thing is that you're not paying taxes on it now. Mm-hmm. But is that really the best choice long term? Maybe it is, because maybe it means you can invest more now. But maybe if you invest now, you pay the taxes on it now when your income may be lower than in a 403b, for example. 403b, or a Roth IRA. I got tongue twisted. If you invest into a Roth IRA now, then later on you won't have to pay taxes on that money. And maybe if you expect your income to be higher, which we certainly do, that might be the right choice for you. But in any case, do your research, talk to a professional, but make sure you are saving for your retirement so that you don't condemn yourself to a life of working when you don't want to, or you can't.
I mean, you gotta set your finance goal, right? Because no finance, that means you're living a miserable life. Period. That's the way the life works. You gotta have finance. You have to have the finance goals. You have to create a budget. You gotta have a budget. How much I wanted to spend in the grocery, how much I wanted to spend in fun, or how much I wanted to invest in any other things that you like, all right? You have to have that budget, all right? For example, I like to say, never go to the grocery store when you're hungry, all right? Eat before you go, because if you go to the grocery hungry, you end up buying a lot of stuff that you don't even thought about it, all right? So keep that in mind. It's very, very important to know that, all right? Start the emergency saving, all right? You gotta save some money, for emergency. You never know, what's gonna happen, in the next 10 minutes. You might need that money, right? So you're saving the money for important, situations.
I have to disagree. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but I just had this conversation with a client this week. I said, if you're saving for an emergency, guess what's gonna happen? an
Probably
emergency.
emergency. Yes.
So
That's
what
a law of attraction,
law of
right?
attraction.
Yes, law of attraction.
So you want to save that money for your brilliant future,
For a brilliant future.
for
Okay.
your life of your dreams. If an emergency happens and you have to put that money to a different use, that's one thing.
Yes.
But you don't want to give that money the intention of being for an
Intentional.
emergency.
Yes, that's true.
Sorry.
So if you will go to the law of attraction, so that's the way I should be thinking. That's the way I should be telling you. That's right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's right. I mean, save money for a house. For you can buy a house. A house is a great investment. All right. A lot of people prefer to rent. But house is actually is a great investment. All right. And helping your loved ones, that's another thing you can invest to help people that love you the most or you love them the most. It's very important to do that, right? Paying off your credit card, right? You want to pay off your credit card as fast as possible, all right? And usually you want to pay off those that has the high interest first, and then you pay those that has a zero interest. All right.
We definitely have YouTube videos about how to handle your credit cards.
Yeah, definitely. We have some YouTube video about that. You can go to YouTube channel and check it out. All right.
So you may be thinking, like, this is all fine and good, but I'm barely like covering my expenses right now. How am I supposed to save and put money away for my future? So that's where this idea of delayed gratification comes in, making choices now that are going to serve you long term. So some ideas, of course, could be like looking at all of your subscriptions. If you don't know how to look at your Apple subscriptions on your iPhone or your Android, just Google it and see what you're subscribed to that you're not using anymore. Consider, are you subscribed to Amazon Prime Video and Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu and ESPN and all those different channels? Maybe you could choose some of those to cut out, and that's money that you could be investing in your future, because those entertainment channels are not serving you long term unless they're educational, right? But just pure entertainment, just it's not a great investment.
I mean, besides, like, you might have 1,000 channel at home, but you only watch one or two.
Right.
That's a reality.
So that's a good investment of your time to sit down and get clear on all of the expenses that you're paying for just in-home entertainment and how you could reduce that. Another one might be, staying home a little bit more than you're used to. Maybe you go out with your friends every weekend, every Friday, every Saturday. I don't know your schedule, but maybe trying to cut that down once in a while so that you don't spend that money. I'm always blown away by how much money people can go out and spend in a club, and then they can't afford $29 for a book, for example.
I know, right? Yeah. I mean, I was, in my 20s, I was the kind of person that, I spend a lot of money in the bars and restaurants and clubs, and I did a lot of that. So it wasn't a smart move, but at the time it seems perfect. All right. But and then in my 30s, I start a new strategy. Instead, I go to the club or go to the bar and just spend under $200, $300 in 1 hour in the club. I go to the Costco, in the grocery store and buy a drink and invite friends to my house, and we drink and we have fun.
Yeah,
and
that's a great idea.
And you spend, you go to the grocery store, you get a drink, say $50 in drinks and chips and stuff like that. You come home, you have a good time all night. You know what I mean? And you don't have to worry about DIY and all the other stuff combined, all right? And you're saving a lot of money. But you go to the club, I mean, just to get dressed and go and get out the door, you're ready to spend $100. So that's another way to save money. A lot of people prefer to put their money in the fun stuff, all right, in the club, in the bar, restaurant, stuff like that, all right. But some people prefer to put their money, where actually you will get an interest.
Yeah.
All right. So you gotta learn to do that because uh, if you telling yourself that you can get a $10 a book for $10 that will improve your mindset, but you can put a $20 to get you know something, alcohol or drugs, or I don't know, just to spend it at all, in anything that is not valuable to you, and just to the pleasure of it. It's not worth it, right? So, of course, we're not here to tell you what to do with yourself.
Just ideas.
It's just ideas, but we're here to tell you that that's the things that most of the people is doing now is what we used to do, and what we change ourselves. That's why we are where we are right now. All right, it's just,
and where we're going to be when we're going to be.
And yes, for sure, and yeah, life experience.
Another thing to think about is, like Tovy and I, we drink a lot of coffee still, unfortunately. But our monthly coffee for the two of us is probably the same cost as what someone spends in a week, one person going out to buy coffee. So just those little changes can be very powerful and can add up, especially if you invest that money into your savings or into one of the other ideas that we're going to share with you. But another way to save money is to cook at home rather than eating out all the time, which brings me to how to nourish your body, right? So moving away from the financial and talking about how do we take care of our bodies so that when we're 80 and 90 years old, we can still live a full existence. And nourishing your body, choosing the healthiest foods, you know what they are. I don't need to tell you. Fruits and vegetables, even supplements, vitamins, supplements, whatever's appropriate for you. But just stop cramming junk constantly and, try to change the ratio. If right now my diet was, say, 80% junk and 20% nourishing food, I just want to change that gradually over time to be eating healthier and healthier so that by the time I'm my mom's age, I'm going to be as healthy as she is.
Yeah.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah. And yeah, you have to do that, of course. Reality is like we all come to go one day, right? But we don't know where we're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are supposed to be living to 100 years old, you don't want to be living to 100 years old and start to wear a diaper when you're 70, all right? Or you start to having people still taking care of you when you're 70, because you can walk, because you didn't take care of yourself, okay? Or you have to take care of yourself now. It has to be with the nutrition, with the exercise, mindset. All right, it's very important.
Hold on. Slow down.
Yeah. You have to. Actually, when I start talking and I kind of go and I just. But anyway,
cover everything.
I just cover everything. But anyway, you have to, taking care of your body and your mind.
Right? That's true.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt. You're on a roll. So exercise, one of the most important things that I've learned about exercise is that it's more important to build muscle than it is to burn fat. Pure and simple. You want to build the muscle. It actually does increase your metabolism, but it also protects your bones, protects your body, keeps you very solid and strong as you mature. So building that muscle is super important, and doing all those kind of exercises. And then also getting some heart-raising activity each day in order to get your lymphatic system, which runs your immune system, and your circulatory system all pumping. You definitely want to do that each day. But I stay away from this whole concept of like burning calories, because that will just happen naturally when I'm taking good care of myself.
Yeah.
Speaking of
And,
taking good care of
yeah.
yourself,
And where we go with the mindset, right? Your brain is like the most powerful thing you have in your body. Okay,
mm-hmm.
if your brain doesn't work, your body doesn't work. Okay, so you wanted to feed your brain with not only a great nutrition, but also with reading. Reading. You can read anything. I mean, just read. All right, learning new skills also. It will help your brain to stay sharp. Okay, and you see sometimes you have people in the early 50s, and they already start forgetting stuff. They talk and then they forget what they're talking about. All right, that because they didn't develop their mindset to constantly learn a new thing and constantly be focused, and learning and you know and when you say learning and create that space that will make you like a very more open-minded and more confident,
Mm-hmm.
in general, right?
And creative.
And creative, right? Yeah, you can read, you can paint, you can you can even just sit down and watch some documentary on something that actually will help your brain to develop, right? You can listen to the musics that will actually help your brain to develop. I mean, there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
type of
Mm-hmm.
meditation that you can just put it on, listen, and just go sleep. All right, and that is helping your brain to develop. I mean, science is amazing. Okay, I love science. And
Yeah, we say read a book, but let's be specific. We're talking about books that help you to improve
to improve
yourself,
yourself.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
Not just entertainment.
yeah.
And entertainment is fun, but that's not what we're talking about here. Maybe we should, when we've had other calls, other videos about having fun, right? And it's definitely good, but we're talking about investing something now, taking time to read something now that is actually going to make your life better 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
And on that point, rereading the same book, rewatching the same video. I just rewatched The Secret, and it's just like, wow, that 2 hours maybe that it took me to rewatch The Secret really has improved my life. It's so much better than watching what I would have watched, which probably would have been the news, which would have lowered my vibration. Right.
And now you can say why she said don't say save money for emergency. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Save money for something good.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Let's talk about sleep.
Yeah.
So another important way to invest in yourself is to create positive sleep habits so that you're getting the right amount of sleep each night, and it's good, powerful sleep. And we could do a whole video just on sleep, but you can also Google like how to get better sleep. And you probably know a lot about it, right? Don't drink caffeine after, some people say 3 p.m., noon. Don't eat a late meal, a big heavy meal late at night. Don't exercise right before you go to bed, or vigorous exercise. Try to journal and let go of your chaos before you get into bed. Any kind of evening routine that helps you fall asleep without technology. Although we do like to listen to something as we go to sleep because it distracts me from my thoughts. So
yeah, and one of the things you can do to improve yourself is to invest in your education. All right. And the reality is like even like you already go to 4 years college, all right, over time you still have to invest in yourself to learn something more, because time doesn't stop, and every generation brings a new thing in life that you have to follow. It's
Mm-hmm.
either you follow or you stay behind. Okay, so I mean, this is a simple example right here. Okay, um, I didn't touch computer until I was like in the 20s. Okay, and when I started computer, I wasn't even touching computer to write on it, all like that. But I touched computer by already fixing computer. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because I used to work up for the IT division, um, and where I was a supervisor for the warehouse, and I started to know all the parts about computer, and those engineers, they were like, you know what, man, you know all about the parts, you need to put it together. So that taught me how to put a computer together. And that's how I learned about computer before I started learning how to type in the computer, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And then I moved to US, and I went to college. I got a certificate, but I never ended up working on that area. I ended up working in the parking lot. Okay, so I ended up staying 15 years, driving cars in the parking lot, and I never touched computer at all. And then I went to car business. I started using computer, but I'm really bad. Okay, it's until now, a year and a half from now, that I started using computer all the time. But I have to do that. I have to make myself to improve in that area, because right now nowadays, like you don't have a computer to work on it, you don't have a cell phone to work on it, that means you're missing something very important, because nowadays you only need your phone to make money. You don't need an office, you need your phone to make money. Okay, so it's very important for you to know about technology, all right, for you to know about what's going on in life. Okay,
And
and
and big picture too is like there's new technologies coming up, and you can't just say like, okay, now I've learned about computers, right? Because there's new technologies, the metaverse,
yeah,
cryptocurrency, NFTs, all that stuff, and you're like, oh god, so much more to learn.
yeah,
But if you don't learn it now, we're going to be behind the curve, right? Now's the time to learn about the new things coming up and to get excited when you hear about new things coming up. I'm trying to change my
yeah,
mindset because I didn't used to be an early adopter. Like when the iPhone came out, it took me several years to decide to try one.
yeah.
Um,
Well, actually, I gave you iPhone for Christmas.
yeah, he
It
kind
was
of
like
forced me.
7 years later.
He kind of forced me to adopt it. But I've learned now, I have some more experiences to see that like once things start, they're going to keep going. So you might as well be an early adopter and learn and be on the front edge of things.
Yeah,
So always educating, always looking forward to learning more. Um, and then the other thing I really want to talk about, someone in our group actually posted on Facebook a few weeks ago. Don't depend on your employer to tell you what kind of education you need or don't need. Build your own portfolio. Even if you love your employer, imagine that you might want to choose something different in your future. You may want to choose a new employer. You may want to choose a new career. You may want to start your own business. Any way it goes, take your own education into your own hands. Ask your employer if they can help fund that education. That's awesome. But if they say, no, you don't need any more certificates, you're good. Don't just take that for an answer for a few reasons. You may want some certificates for applying for a new job. And also, it's just super valuable to keep your mind fresh, to keep learning new things. Will give you more job satisfaction, career satisfaction as well.
yeah. You have to. I have more certifications than I can count right now. So, yeah,
You can, if you're thinking about a new career or a new area, that you can also volunteer or get a part-time job or a small job in an area that you might be interested in. I know we have many group members who are interested in starting a restaurant, opening a restaurant. So getting into a restaurant and working there while you build your business and looking around and seeing how is it done and what are the pitfalls. Maybe even moving into a management position. I know we're short on time,
Yeah.
so anything else that seems super important to share with our audience this morning?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, we said about, learning more, educate yourself to get more certification. We talked about that. And you have to learn to say no as well, right? Because some opportunity is no real opportunity. It's just a distraction.
That's so true.
Okay. And you need to
Oh
know
my
what is
gosh.
a distraction, what is not distraction. Okay. Some opportunity looks great, look like awesome, but you know what? It might be awesome for somebody else. It might not be awesome for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the way you will see it, the way that people deliver information to you, sometimes people like it can be a very good deliver the information, and it might make you believe that, oh, that's the one, that's definitely the one. But you know what, that's why you need to self-study, so you really know when to say no or when to say yes, when the opportunity is actually to you, or when the opportunity like seems great but for your brother or sister, all right? Like, oh yeah, this is great, but you know what, my sister can be good on that, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know how to say no. Spend time, quality time. You gotta spend quality time with your loved ones, your family, your friends. You have to spend the quality time with them. Cook a meal together, planning trips, together.
Mm-hmm.
All the fun things, you have to do that. Uh, and last but not least, we do have a lot of more stuff, but the time is short, right? Romance, okay? We know there's people out there is still looking for someone, all right? Still looking for the perfect someone. Okay, let me tell you a secret. There's no perfect someone on there. You're never gonna find the perfect someone. You'll find someone who will love you for who you are, and you're gonna love them for who they are, and you guys are gonna build together something that you guys both gonna love, and you embrace and improve it in a daily basis, so you guys can spend as much as time as possible. But don't try to find the perfect one. You wait for the perfect one. It's hard. Okay. Well, it's not impossible, but it's hard to find the perfect one. Okay. And don't live alone. And be, find somebody who will respect you, love you, and take care of you. I'm not saying about financially. I'm talking about take care of you by personally, by the care about you, like, are you okay today? You know what I mean? Like, no, that type of stuff. Okay. So we do have a lot of more stuff to talk about, but half
Maybe
hour.
we'll keep going next week.
Yeah, half hour, so short. But this is what I'm gonna do. We do have a lot of stuff to talk about, and so we're gonna do part 2.
Thank you for being
Okay.
here.
Thank you for being
Especially
here.
those of you who showed up live, those of you who caught the replay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being flexible with the time so that we could be available for our son's cross-country meet today. We appreciate you. We love you. And thanks for being awesome.